Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Walt Ribeiro. I'm one of Linode's developer advocates, and today we have a very special guest. We have Beginbot, known for his work on Twitter and YouTube. So, do you want to explain who you are, maybe some of the projects that you're working on, and we'll get this interview started?
Yeah, sure. Hi. So I'm Began. My name's actually Began, but I go by Beginbot. Typically on the internet, I guess what I've been pretty much doing for the last year has been sitting in my room and streaming every day, building various stuff on code. So that's pretty much what I spend most of my online life doing, just building wacky things with the community and seeing where it goes.
Okay, but you notice that you have a green screen behind you, so you maybe want to talk about that, how you do things where people in the chat are actually part of the work that you're creating in real time, right? So some of the things that they can buy are like some of the wallpapers in the background and kind of this like real time two-person collaboration, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I guess the original idea was when I started streaming, I just wanted to stream some time to like learn some coding stuff. And when you're learning coding on yourself, it's like, how do you get other people to learn along with you? Because not everyone's on the same level. Not everyone's doing the same thing. So I came up with the plan at the beginning of like last January, now pretty much a year ago, of saying, how can we let the chat essentially interact more with the stream? And as they're interacting, they're learning to code by tricks. So incentivize people trolling. So the whole system started off with, a lot of times you'll see on Twitch, someone wants to play a sound effect. So that's nice and all. I don't want to collect sound effects. So let's have the chat collect the sound effects. So we built a system where the chat could submit different clips for sound effects, name them, give them a timestamp, and our system would automatically download them, make them available, and put them into our economy. And then the price goes up and down whether people, buy or sell them. So the idea is that if you come in here and you're wanting, put your flavor on Began World's chat, Began World system, you can have the sound effects you like. You like this type of music, boom, I've got that. You like this movie, you've got that. And at the same time, people then start saying, okay, how can I start automating further? So the real start, it's a long journey, but the real start was just sound effects. And then sound effects slowly turned into memes and backgrounds, and you can control my camera and you can control my filters. And it's just, we're essentially trying to take every part of the stream and make it controllable by other people if they're a good person, which is a problem.
Okay, so how do people in the chat send a protocol to change your MP3 recordings or some of your sound effects? Is it through MIDI? Is it through like doing hotkeys?
So
you maybe
actually,
want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you the secret. So how we actually do it is, we're all about hacks on the stream, okay? We're all about getting something done, getting something here. We're not trying to build the most scalable system. So what we do is in the chat, you say exclamation point sound effect, and you put a URL, any URL that we can steal the sound from. We actually use something called YouTube DL. If you YouTube Downloader, it's a really popular open source tool that actually was in a big controversy earlier in the year. GitHub took it off from their project, and then they stood up for it and put it back up. But that can actually take sounds and cut them up from, I don't even know, hundreds of websites. So that's the basic of what we use to cut. So that YouTube DL runs on my computer, downloads sounds, saves them on my computer. So out of all the sound effects we have, which is like, I believe above 4,000, they're on my computer. They're also on Linode, but it's not that much, it's not really that much space, truthfully. So we actually just download it. And then when you play the sound, I am playing the sound on my computer, and that sound is being routed through OBS. So there's no like external place. Everything's kind of like local.
Okay, so then this is the whole tie-in, right? So you're using Linode for a $5 server on your object storage for all of these sounds, right? I mean, is that the?
So it actually a little bit different than that. So the next evolution was after we have sounds here, people have, so let's say we have 3,000 sound effects. Great, what sounds do I own? So before, when we had a smaller little group of people would in the chat would just say, show me my sounds. And we'd say, here's your 5 sounds. Now we have hundreds and hundreds of users, and some have 3,000 sounds. If they say, show me my sounds in the chat, we spam the chat. No one can read the chat anymore because it just says, you have the next 10,000. So what we started doing is we just took the next step. The goal is, how do we trick people into learning to code? And there used to be an amazing way that everyone on earth was getting tricked into learning to code and no one knew. It was called MySpace. Back in the day, you'd be on MySpace trying to customize your page, customize the HTML, customize the styling, add your own sound effect. Doing that, people learn HTML. So I actually wanted to bring that back. So when you join the chat, if you chat ever and you type exclamation point me, it's a joke that it's my interns, but it's really a program, don't tell anyone. We actually generate you a web page that is just a static site with all of your information on Linode. So every person who's ever been in my chat, who's ever said anything, gets a page on Linode. And they also can style their own page on Linode. So just like MySpace, you can upload CSS through the chat for your single page. And the nice thing is I don't care how many viewers we've had. The price, since we're just hosting static pages here, I'm still under $5 a month for, thousands and thousands and thousands of users. And we don't just upload all of the user pages, but every single sound is up there too. So if you do want to go up there and listen to all 4,000 sounds and pick which one you want to buy next, you can click through and play them. It's going to be a long process finding the one you like.
So people can actually choose their own theme song in this economy.
Yes.
And I want you to talk a little bit about this idea of rewarding good behavior, because I find that really fascinating. The idea of almost like that the currency is about being a good person. So, I want to hear a little bit more about that.
Totally. Yes, this is one of the big problems here. And it's one of the joys of Twitch, right? It's the good and the bad of Twitch. People are going to troll. When I'm on Twitch, I like to troll a little bit. The other programmers like to get in there and write a couple funny comments, and it's all good fun. But you got to be careful, because you don't want the stream just to turn into like absolute chaos, and you don't want it to be just like, offensive sounds and, images that'll get me kicked off Twitch. So we had to figure out, okay, how can we build some type of self-sustaining system that will reward the right behavior? That was the goal, and that's a hard thing, right? Everyone is trying to do that in their own world. So the simple way we've done it, and we implemented this back in like January now, and we've been sticking with it since then, and there's things to be tweaked. We have two types of currency. We have what's called street cred and cool points. And the idea is that street cred you only get for chatting. If you hang out, you get street cred. You collect it. You can only do one thing with it, give it away to someone else. This means that, imagine if you work the job and every day go, here's your paycheck. Cool. What can you spend it on? Oh, you can only give it to your friends. You're like, what? I want to buy something. Nope, you can't. You have to give it to a friend. What friend do you give it to? Your best friend, the people you like. Now they have to give you money. So there is an untethered relationship between people giving you money. No one has to give you money. So how do you get yourself to get money in the chat? The idea is hopefully be a good person. In general, it does seem to work that way. People who are like, they're funny, or they have a useful tool, or someone asks a question and they answer it way better than I do. Boom, everyone's like, give that person some cool points, and they're richer. At the same time though, any system you put in place, someone's going to figure a way to scam it. But that's the general idea of how we split the two, is that if you chat, you get money, but you can't do anything. You have to make a friend. Great, I made a friend. Here, I'll give my money to you. You give your money to me. Now I can buy some stuff.
Now, can they convert those cool points into real life dollars, or it's all within the Beacon economy?
No. I'd be broke. Yeah, it's all in economy. yeah, everything is in economy. Yeah, everything's in economy right now. We are trying to figure out some like different levels of stuff, because there's some people who have now beaten the game, right? There's people who have figured out, who are like loyal viewers, and they've learned how to game the system right. We also allow, because the idea of the stream is, I'm not just here to program. I'm here to program, and I want you to program too, and we can interact together, but it's not supposed to be like I'm programming up on high. So we have another rule in our Twitch, which is we are bot friendly, and every user can have one bot. One bot per user. It's like I use the term like familiar. If you ever played like, I don't know, various fantasy games, right? You have like an animal that follows you around. It's an old concept, but familiar. And you can use your bot then to help you in the economy. So for instance, okay, so I can't give myself cool points. My bot can give me cool points, but you can only have one bot per person. And so we're trying to always, after people beat the game, I guess, or they figured new ways around it, we just keep introducing new ways for them to like experiment with it. And that's how we ended up going from sounds to memes. Like, after 3,000 sounds, it's like, okay, I've got a good feeling for sound effects. Maybe let's add some images and see what creativity comes from there.
And just for those who are listening or who are watching, is that your viewers aren't just learning how to be cool, but they're also learning how to code. So you're doing things like CSS and JavaScript and how to write bots. So like this idea of like it's what you were saying before, is like that you're tricking them to learn. But talk a little bit about like some of the stuff that they are actually learning. So
sure.
I mean, the idea that they're allowed to have bots and that they're part of your economy, that they're learning how to like build a bot basically just through osmosis.
Totally, yeah. So first, one thing that's really amazing about Twitch chat is that it's just IRC, Internet Relay Chat, super old protocol. You can connect to it in any language with so little code. A lot of people don't realize that. They think you need a bunch of libraries and APIs. Writing a little Python bot for it, you can do it in 50 lines. Get a quick little connection and reading the messages here. So what we've done is we built a couple like little mini bots where it's like, hey, here's a starter. All this does is read chat messages. You hook this up. From here, if it wants to do something cool, you got to be creative. So the idea is that we don't even want the stream to be everyone programs the same language as me. I don't do that much JavaScript. We've got a ton of people doing JavaScript. I want them to be like, okay, how can I write my language to do this? So we've seen a couple things happen. We've seen people build bots that handle, various types of trading for other people. If you need like an escrow system in between, I'm not going to handle that. A bot has to build that. We've seen translation bots. We've seen quite a few bots to troll me for various reasons. So what happens is a lot of times, funny enough, we've had people try and automate away our users. This is a common thing that seems to happen, and funny enough, so we'll have a user. We have one of my favorite mods, Stupak. Hey, Stupak out there. Every day he's got a new keyboard he wants to show us, right? And every single day it's like, here's the keyboard that I think is the best keyboard today. So finally, one of our other viewers says, great, I'm going to build a bot that's going to automatically show us a better keyboard. And so then we have a daily competition every day. Whose keyboard is better, the man-chosen keyboard or the bot-chosen keyboard? And then you start seeing, oh, God, look at the bots trying to use memes to win. Okay, the memes aren't working for the people. How do you adjust? And all of a sudden, people are learning stuff like that. Another thing we've seen that's really been crazy is the craziest thing that's been done is since you can put GIFs and images on screen now, we've had one of our users, Zanus, who's just done like the most incredible work, has built a full website that shows my stream while it's live. It loads up all of the GIFs and images that have been made available in the stream. It allows you to overlay them where you want them to appear on stream. It will give you a series of commands to make that image appear. It is like, I couldn't have built it. And then I'm talking to, the creator, and it's like, I didn't mean to learn all this. What did you do to me? Why am I doing why am I building this? Because it's just, we needed it. So I'm hearing tangible examples of people being like, why am I doing so much JavaScript? Because the jokes is most of the answer. So there's a couple examples. There's just a lot of random ones.
You were talking about the idea of how each page looks like a MySpace, but you all had also mentioned about like GeoCities when you and I were first talking. Is that part of the goal? Like you want to actually have like a throwback from like 2002?
Yeah, so I personally am I loved the internet when it was a little bit simpler. I think a lot of times these days we are people with how complicated everything is. You go and you look at like, okay, I want to put up a web page. Okay, I need it to be super responsive, and I need it to be real time. I need this real time chat over here, and it's like, how about we just go with HTML? And then people start with the HTML, and then they get fancier. And I think MySpace and GeoCities and AngelFire, all of that stuff helped people ease into technology better and then create wackier stuff. So my idea is bring back that entry point, because right now, starting a new JavaScript application, I've been a developer for like 10 years. It's intimidating to me because I work in back-end DevOps. I'll put up 100 servers. Great, we can build a whole distributed back-end. You want to make a front-end? Okay, no, I think I'll just stick with the... So I'm trying to figure out, it's kind of for me too, but the dream also is, I have a big problem with, I don't like how all websites look the same. I want wacky websites. I want every site looking different.
I noticed that you're really good at playing guitar.
Yeah, pretty much. It's funny enough, like I always tell people, and I'm always trying to get other musicians to become developers if they want to be, because I was a person who did music my whole life, probably since I was just your typical 14-year-old, like playing guitar obsessively and in bands. And I even went to school for music and all that, and just like didn't, making no money, fiddling around a guitar. But then randomly, I ended up getting deeper into like the electronic side of stuff. So I've been making electronic music. I was on Fruity Loops in high school and composing weird electronic music. And that slowly led to more and more programming. I actually got into this thing called Max MSP, which is like, you're getting there to programming. It's like there's loops, there's if statements. And I'm like, wait, loops, if statements, okay, what is this? And I was using that to make music art stuff where it's like the video filter influences the sound filter, and all of a sudden, like, I'm having to learn about computers. And then I don't even know what happened, but just one day I was like, what if I just didn't make sound today? What if I just did the mess with the loops? And I did, like, for whatever reason, I just hit me one day, I'm like, I don't have to make noise. I could just program. And I literally just went to the bookstore and I bought the biggest programming book they had, which was on Java. I said, which is the thickest? And I picked out a Java one, and then like pretty quickly like ended up down a rabbit hole.
Isn't
like,
the GUI to Max MSP like the ugliest thing that you've ever seen? And it's like, it's so...
Oh, it's so bad. I can't imagine going back.
It's so like 2004, It's
yeah,
just,
actually,
like
I haven't gone
you're
back in
just
so long.
Between them.
Yeah, it's super cool what it does, but yeah, it looks so crazy and old. I need to open it up and see like what's going on in that world, because back then I was like, oh my god, everyone, I can write an if statement or a loop, and look at, if the color's blue, it doesn't put on this delay filter. I'm a genius. That was like 10 years ago with like, 5 minutes of experience. I would love to see what you can do now if, that space has to have evolved. but I don't know.
I'm just a big fan of how you called it Fruity Loops instead of the FL Studio that people know.
No, it's Fruity Loops.
It's Fruity
okay,
Loops,
I've been on
right?
Fruity Loops.
Right? It's the OG Fruity Loops. People don't realize it's like
People call it FL Studio now. I forgot.
Yeah, well, so people don't even realize like that Logic actually wasn't owned by Apple. Like I think that Apple bought them back in like 2005. So like this age of like 2002 to 2006 of like Digital Performer, Max MSP, a Kite. There was Kite. There was also there was just a lot. There were all these things going on. And then the internet was new, and then like the .com, the .com bubble had just happened. So there were like all these like new kind of like things that people were like trying out and failing on, and then MySpace was new. I feel like that there was just so much activity. Twitter had just started in 2006 or 7.
Yeah.
So I feel like there was so much going on, like creatively, and people just trying and failing. I don't know. So like that is a pretty like magical time that I think about a lot.
I also like the attitude. But there's also an attitude that I think is important for like musicians have that programmers don't have. And I totally get this all the time. When I first got a program, I was intimidated too, where you're like, I'm not a super genius. I'm not going to change the world. Oh, you invented a new algorithm. I'm not going to do that. That's one way to think. And you can think the way like a musician, I'm not going to pioneer a new form of harmony or you think about, I'm going to write my best songs. I'm going to write some songs I like. I'm going to write songs I want to listen to using what I like and get better and better. And I think people, when you look at programming more like an art, more like I'm producing content and it's for me and it's personalized and it's my style, it's just so much less intimidating. Everyone loves to hear, like, how many bands do you know where you're like, no, their first demo is so good. And you're like, but the recording's not as good. The guitar playing's kind of sloppy. The lyrics are kind of, you're like, no, it's got the magic. And it's like, why? It's because that's when you are creating without, as many expectations. You're experimenting, you're trying, and the best stuff comes from that. So I want more people to just be like less intimidated about, producing world's greatest project. I would rather hear, 1,000 3-chord pop songs than no unfinished masterpieces that sit in people's, bedroom.
I tell people this all the time. Like when people make fun of pop songs, I'm like, man, you could spend the next 5 years, 5 lifetimes, and you will never write a hit pop song, because there's nothing more difficult than writing a melody that someone can sing back 5 seconds later. It's very, very difficult. And so I feel like that there needs to be more appreciation for that. Of like that the 3-chord pop song, I get it. But like, I mean, even if you look at like a Beethoven song, there are only 3 songs too. Just because he adds like a trumpet or a violin player doesn't make it any more, differently structured. It's the same, like 1-4-5 chord progression or some kind of like, like repeating motif, and it's all just the same thing as like, okay, you might call a motif in the classical world, but it's just a riff in the rock world, right? It's like the same thing.
Yeah, I was thinking like, what's the goal? It's this whole idea of like, don't judge a fish by how it climbs a tree, right? And it's like the pop song, you're looking at it and you're like, I am trying to have this thing stuck in my head. It's supposed to be clean and simple, and I'm supposed to be able to put it on, loop. It's got to be 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and I'm looking for a feeling, a sound. I don't want any major 7th chord. If you play a 7th in there, I'm going to freak out. That's too complex of emotion. I want to be happy. I want to be sad. And that's if you look at it from that way, it's like a pure art form. I look at pop. I'm actually a huge pop fan. Love Katy Perry and a bunch of other people. Katy Perry, she's my favorite though. But
own it.
I look at it the same way as I look at like a lot of like I listen to a lot of punk, or I listen to a lot of metal, and where it's like I'm looking for minimalism almost. I'm looking for like, I want this thrash band to sound like a classical thrash band from the Bay Area. They're going towards an ideal, and it's not supposed to be like innovate. And that's a lot of times with pop too. What is the current zeitgeist of sound? We're going on a different tangent now. What's the current pop sound? How can I make the best version of that while tweaking it a little bit and making my own? It's difficult. It's easier to make just new random stuff.
So going back to the code, in case if you don't want to like go off track, I do have a note here that talks about mana. I'm not sure where I was going with that, but
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's another thing. We've had to introduce mana. So it's so funny because you try and make a system where you're like, okay, let's make a system where it's a super fun, interactive chat and everyone's doing fun stuff. People are going to take advantage of stuff. People are going to troll, etc. As time goes on, we keep building more and more, levers to control stuff, and then people learn how to control those levers. We introduce more levers. So we start with street cred and cool points. That's great. However, someone gets a sound. Great, I've got a great sound. I'm going to play it every 5 seconds. That's a problem, right? It's not that fun anymore, even if you earn the sound if you're playing it every 5 seconds. So the simple solution we've done is a mana system, just like any game. You play a sound, you lose mana. After a certain amount of time, your mana replenishes. So it just prevents like spamming of sounds. And then we haven't done it yet, but we've been trying to. What we're gonna do is the real plan is we're gonna start incentivizing mana for larger rewards in the system. Because right now, if you interact and you chat, you can get cool points, you can buy sounds, etc. Mana, this fixed amount of how many sounds you can play per X number of minutes, that is more. We want it to be more special. So we're gonna introduce some idea where it's, if you fix an issue in Beacon World, you close one of the GitLab issues, boom, you get 1 extra mana. If you, we might have some styling contest. Whoever has the nicest styled homepage here, you'll get a mana. Something like that to try and make it so when you get mana, it'll be more important. But yeah, it's just another construct to help prevent people from spamming, which is the Twitch, that's the game.
And this wasn't built in a week or a day. So this is the idea of just like failing upwards, right? Like that you launch this project, and then as more problems occur, you sit down, you put your thinking cap on, and then you come up with a solution. And then that might be a solution that has to do with coding. It might be a solution that has to do with writing music. It might be a solution that maybe someone within the like community can actually like help you with. Is that correct? I mean, this idea of like, it's almost like a game of like whack-a-mole.
Yeah. So there's actually, it's funny, there's this part of the Beacon World. Beacon World, that's like the system we're building. That's been the name that's been developed. It does have some lore. We've been building lore around it. And one of the things we do is, and this has been like the dream of Twitch in the first place, is, some days when you're coding, same with music, some days when you're coding, you're making new stuff. Other days you're editing here. So we kind of have to balance between the two. And essentially what I do, and this is a silly method, maybe, but it's fun for me, is we have 2 characters. There's Morning Beacon. Hello, I'm Morning Beacon. And there's Night Beacon. I don't know who that guy is. He's rough. He codes random stuff at night. He puts on his headphones. He blasts some 90s techno, and then he just codes up a half-baked feature. And then in the morning, we will try and like make the feature work. And so there's kind of like two modes here. It's like Night Beacon will just put together some random idea. So for instance, when we first got all the OBS, all of the memes and stuff moving around the screen dynamically, that was just a random Friday night. I was just, long week of work. I was like, Friday night, I feel like coding something fun. I just coded up. I woke up the next day and I was like, oh my God, this code is terrible, but it does move the memes around. So then we spent the next weeks like kind of adjusting it. And then from the raw idea, the whole community is like, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need that. And they really help influence which direction it goes. But the 2 modes, the joke is we have Night Beacon streams, which are more rare, definitely wilder, and we will code anything. We don't care about bugs. We're just making features. What are the jokes? That's like the maximum meme time. You come to those, when people come to those streams for the first time, it can be a little scary. There's 1,000 things happening on screen. I'm trying to like handle all the trolling, and then it's Monday morning. It goes, okay, let's look at this terrible code, try and make it work, add some structure in, add some moderation tools, until the next Night Beacon stream, add some more wacky features.
So it seems like that there's a whole operation going on. You did mention slightly about having an intern that actually helps you.
No. So we don't have it. Yeah, so that's a joke.
Okay.
There's a couple. Yeah. So there's the thing. We do have different levels of people. So there are permission levels. There's first of all, I'm Beginbot. I have my bot. My bot is Beginbot bot. Obviously, it makes perfect sense. And then so those are like have control of everything in the system. From that level, there's stream gods. These are a couple people who are usually my mods, longtime viewers, people who are going to make sure I don't get banned. But these people are really they have full control. They can play any sound, trigger any effect. They're not participating in the economy, but they are like above. If I have a problem, they can handle things for me during it. Like if they need something silenced, they can silence it through the chat themselves. From there, there's the stream lord level, and there's a lot more people in that. They can approve sound effects and memes. So that's a really big, important level I need a lot of help with. I need the people, helping me, because someone uploads a sound. We got to make sure that's not going to get me banned from Twitch. Someone uploads a meme. If I show the wrong meme on screen, I'll get banned from Twitch. So there's a whole system where they can approve stuff in the background. So there is a group of people, the stream lords, who I'm so thankful for each one of you out there, stream lords helping me out here, because the requests pile up. But that's generally how we do it. We have permission levels.
And is there a difference between stream lords and stream gods?
Yeah, so stream gods, one thing that we realized is that stream gods, since you don't participate in the economy anymore, you can play everything. So it's not quite as fun maybe. So with stream lords, you do participate in the economy. The only idea is that you can automatically submit sounds. So you're still a person who, you have mana, you are buying stuff, you're selling stuff. However, if you want to add a new sound effect, it's automatically approved right away. And if someone else, a new person submits a sound effect, they can go look at it, pull it up actually on Linode, look at the request, say, click on the YouTube link. Oh, that's a good sound. Approve that and, help me out. But a lot of people, they're like, I don't want to just work for you. I still want to buy stuff and play. So that's why there's like the two levels.
There was this one video of yours that I was watching, which I thought it was so funny, where you were doing this guitar solo at the end of the show, and you were on like your last like chord progression, and it was just about to end. And as you were about to play it, someone donated money to you, or they sent you like a gift or something, and it changed the sound and kind of like ruined the end of the song, and like, and then the person in the chat said something like, sorry, I didn't mean to ruin it, but it was just like a really kind of like, funny moment where, where they're changing and morphing things in real time, and they actually feel sorry, or they feel good, just like depending on it. But, I mean, it was just like a very kind of like true moment, which I just thought was funny.
Well, I actually had a funny one the other day where someone randomly was like, what the hell is this chat? Every time I type random commands, it's happening. I've got so many commands now. Like they stack also. So every single meme that we have in our system, I think we have over 500 memes that live inside OBS. You can move them on the screen. You can scale them. You can flip them. You can add tons of filters on them. You can transform them, which is just, you can control everything on my screen. You can turn my green screen filter off, my chroma key during stream. Because of that, right? Like people can just go, absolutely, it's hard to know what the full list of commands are. So we've had people come in the chat and they're typing random commands, and all of a sudden it slides me across screen like, wait, what? How did I just slide you? They try another command. Wait, what? How is this working? I'm like, there's so many commands. If you guess a random command, there's a good chance it works. If you say slide and you name one of 500 random memes, you might get that meme appearing on screen. So it's even beyond the point where I don't know all the commands right now, and it's too hard to keep track.
So just to wrap it up, talk a little bit about the engine that you've done in terms of like, how does all this, okay, so your ability to change the color of a GIF or a background or to morph things, what's the back end of that look like? What's the engine that's doing all of that processing?
Yeah, so I use OBS for my streaming, and I love OBS. Super great software. And the one nice thing about OBS is that someone's made a beautiful plugin out there, an OBS WebSockets plugin. So you can talk to OBS, make a WebSocket connection, and control almost anything around OBS. If you ever, for instance, a lot of times when you see people have like stream decks, when they're hitting like a, let me stop recording, start recording, change the scene, they might be talking over WebSockets through OBS. So I've taken that connection, and I've got a system that is just sending so many WebSocket messages about everything. So when you say move something from this side of the screen to the other side of the screen, a lot of times that's me saying move it here, 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 taking an X value and increasing it. If I want to add a filter to something, I'm literally saying, great, here's the filter settings, here's what it looks like, add it onto this new source. If I want to, hide something, it's super similar. So it's just taking it's OBS WebSockets, and then my program is written in Go. And we actually started this whole economy written in Python, and just switched over to Go for fun. But then it actually, because of some, constructs of the language, it became so easy to do a bunch more amazing stuff. So before we used to do some OBS stuff, it was just like a little slower, and it would go. It's like shoo, shoo, shoo. So yeah, the essential breakdown is we use Go over IRC reads and chat messages. That then sends over WebSocket message to OBS.
Wow, that is rad.
That those possibilities are infinite. Like we only touch like the things I'm gonna do next. I've already got ideas. You know what I mean? Like I seriously think we've done like 2% of what can be done.
So
now.
Is there a GitHub that people can?
Yeah, Shad. Have you ever seen? There's an amazing streamer.
Oh, go. Sorry, there's a like delay. So
there's an amazing streamer named Sushi Dragon. If anyone wants to see like this push to the limit here, I think he runs 5 computers at once for his OBS effects, and it's thousands and thousands of scenes. I'm a loser who only has like 20 scenes and like 1,000 sources. It's got thousands of scenes. So I've seen it go further where I'm like, I'm only running 1 computer for my stream. That's lame. I got to have 5. So I'm excited to see where that goes. There is I have half my code is on GitHub, half's on GitLab. If you go to GitLab, it's called Beacon Sounds. That's the main code repo. Also, every day when I stream, we take notes on everything we do. So if you watch the stream, you'll see I got a little bit of the a little hyperactive, a little bit distractible. So I will go on tangents talking about many different topics. We always record those topics and debates and combos. That's in Vegan World. So Vegan World is like where the text and lore is built, and then Vegan Sounds is the code. And actually, every single sound effect is available inside of another repo called Twitch Soundboard. So if you want one of the 4,000 sound effects, hey, it's up there too. GitHub is not happy about rendering that page though, because I just said, great, I'll just throw 4,000, MP3s in a GitHub repo, and they're like, why are you doing this?
So do you have weekly backups that are hosted on Linode's servers?
Yeah, so what I do is we store all the memes, all the sounds, all everyone's pages inside of the Linode servers. And so I don't have it on a weekly backup. I try and do it daily after the stream. It is manual right now. I run make sync.
Okay.
Make sync syncs it up here. Now, truthfully, there's a problem with that, right? Because it's so many sounds right now. So I actually do have to figure out a better solution for syncing, because right now there's there's many ways to sync. But one thing we do for like individual user pages is it's actually by request. So for instance, when you say !me, it regenerates your page on the spot right there and uploads it to Linode. So that way, if anyone wants to get an updated page, we're like, you just asked for your page. Might as well update it. We joke that those are the interns updating stuff, but if they just go to their page, like it's not updated right away because it is a static page, and that keeps costs down, and I can keep uploading. I can give everyone a page, and I don't really care. But yeah, the idea is that some stuff is synced when you request it. So when someone in the chat says, hey, show me the memes page, we quickly say, are there any new memes? Okay, upload them. And if you say, actually me, we say, okay, great, let's update your page here. So some is generate on the fly because it's just that's the fastest, easy way to do it. Cache and validation is very hard. When is this website out of date? Oh boy, we'll go down that route. And then the other is I just say when I'm done with the stream, typically at night while I'm an Arch user, by the way. When I'm updating all my packages, I say, okay, update our packages, sync everything up.
So then what's next for the whole vegan world, vegan economy?
Yes. So we're super excited. So we're getting really close to feature. So when we were in Python and went to Go, we actually lost some features. We built so many features in Python, we went over to Go, we dropped a couple. We are almost back at feature parity. We added 1,000 more in the meantime. So with that, the real plan is we're going to start splitting the Vegan world into two parts. So there's going to be the version that runs locally, which is just for sound effects and OBS. If I'm going to affect my stream, I have to have, I have to be playing the sounds on my computer. I have to be making a WebSocket connection with my OBS. However, the entire economy can live somewhere else. So what we're trying to work on now, the dream, and we will get there, is we want to have Vegan World running 24/7. Right now, since people can actually run, they can, add sound effects and do memes and all that, we're going to try and get an OBS instance of the system I built that's totally, it's like, similar if you've seen Twitch plays Pokemon or Twitch plays pixel art. Those stay up 24 hours, right? We're going to do the same thing. So right now, we have this problem where someone is saying, Vegan, I'm working on some ideas, but I need your stream to be up so I can finish them. We got to stop that. So we're going to try and build out a version of Vegan World that's not me streaming, that is just no one streaming, just the wacky effects, and it's going to show the economy numbers 24/7. So the idea is we'll use Linode, we'll get OBS deployed there, and then on Twitch, you should be able to go somewhere 24/7 and go, how much money do I got? Oh, here's the economy. Hey, I think I want to add some new memes. Vegan streams Tuesday. Let me add some memes today. And you could go in there and add the memes and totally prepare a funny scene. That way you can troll me, right at the start of the day. So yeah, but to do that, we have to split it in two, and we've got to start deciding, okay, great, with the splitting of this, what's the communication between the two? When we want to actually trigger a meme on screen, where are we going to check to make sure that person is allowed to play that meme and all that?
What was the main decision to refactor from Python to Go? Was it speed? Was it because of the community that they prefer Go? Is it, like that, was it Flutter? What was it?
It's so funny.
Drawing?
Yeah. No, it was nothing.
it was just
I always joke that Go is just around me all the time. Well, no. It's funny enough. So I like learning for learning. Learning for learning's sake, that's a beautiful thing. That's always been kind of the point of the morning stream. Sometimes what's the final goal for this? And I'm like, I do have a vision, but I am here to we're going down rabbit holes. We're seeing where it goes. We're learning. Now, Go, I've always had one coworker at every job I'm at who's a Go nut. And it's always like, look, I wrote it in Go. Look how fast it is. And I'm like, okay, the syntax looks boring. And another one, look what I did in Go. It's so good. And I just was always a little bit of it just didn't appeal to me for no reason other than it just wasn't, It wasn't cool enough. There's no hipster selling. I said, okay, let me get over that. Let me just try it out. That was really it, though. I just said I've been putting this off for forever. It's all around me. I keep ending up at jobs where there's like some project that's in Go, and it's like, hey, Beacon, can you update that? I'm like, I gotta learn Go real fast. So I just started making the switch, and honestly, it just opened up things. Like all of a sudden, it was easier to write things faster. All of a sudden, the OBS world opened up. All of a sudden, it was so much easier to handle a million more concurrent requests. Go is so much easier. So before, my Python was actually 7 different bots, I think. I kind of was designing it like it's like a local microservice architecture. It's like what I'm used to for work, and it was just easy to be like, I don't want this to break that. I need to scale this versus that. With Go, it's one bot, though. We just didn't need to do that. It was so much easier to manage all of this stuff happening at once and making sure that we, weren't causing crashes with OBS and whatnot. So I was planning on writing a small app in Go and delivering a teeny version of Vegan World. And then now here we are like 6 months later, and I'm like, I work in Go, and I'm like, it took over a little bit. So be careful, people. When you pick up a language, you're like, I'll just do it for a weekend. That was the general idea. Do it for a weekend, and then now 6 months later, I've got everything in Go, and I'm hanging out with gophers. And
every long story starts with, hey, we'll just try this for like a weekend or so, and then a weekend turns into 6 months, which then turns into a year, then 5 years. Okay, so where can people find you? And let the community just know.
Yeah, the main place is I'm on Twitch Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. PST to usually around 10 a.m. PST. So we're there every morning building out Vegan World stuff. Big community full of people doing all different language. It's not like a Go, Python, JavaScript. Everyone does everything. Everyone's at different levels. Everyone's into different stuff here. So Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. PST, and there's other little things mixed in there. But that's the general best place is Twitch. And I do put out some YouTube videos as well, and we'll be ramping some of those up in the year. But you can just search Beginbot. You'll see my face. Probably wearing this shirt. I only wear one shirt.
I do have to say is that your stream is actually very... it's very entertaining because you make it fun. The music's pretty cool. The chat does go kind of crazy, so it's actually pretty fun to see. But and so for those who are watching, it's everything. I've seen them learn how to design things in like CSS, and then I've seen them learn how to do like JavaScript. So it's all over the map, and you should definitely check it out because it's actually really, really cool. That's why he's a guest, because this is a pretty cool idea that we wanted to feature here.
And thanks for Linode for being able to give everyone a website.
That's right.
If you come to my chat, we will give you a website, okay? And you will be able to style it.
Thank you so much for coming on. And for those who want to check it out, we'll put links in the description below. And you can follow Began and what he's up to with the vegan economy. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me.